outside of what the property is zoned for. I'm not sure
Evicting,
what our future strategy is in terms of,
evicting them is not an option because they are bona fide owners in this.
even if they're not in compliance with the zoning requirement.
What they can and can't do with the property, certainly we have a lot of control over. But, you know, evicting is not one of them. But that is something that we will definitely be discussing with them about what they can and can't do. I mean, it's zoned commercial at this point in time.
Dave, when you buy a condo, you buy the inside of the building, right?
When you buy a condo, you buy the inside of the building, and you become a co-owner of any of the common areas.
Okay.
Surrounding where your condo is and any of the common areas that are listed in the master deed as being part of the condo.
So the only 8 units right now, are they the co-owners of the property they're sitting on?
Yes,
Okay.
they would be co-owners of all the property, including this, as is the city of Taylor. And I think that's important also with respect to what we're talking about with this large piece that we essentially own, because what we want is we want to pull it out so we own what we own, and we're not sharing ownership as a common area. Anyone has any more questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So again, we're recommending that you authorize the mayor to execute this so we can move forward with it. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
We got the, communications? Yeah.
Yep.
We did it. This came at the last minute. This is the motion to.
Actually, yeah, I'll turn it over to the chief. This was a late addition under mayor's communication. This was taken out quite a while ago, but we were looking at, there was a last minute bid that came in lower than any of the other bids, but we were vetting that to see if they were a qualified bidder, if they could deliver on time. And I'll turn it over to Chief Skladowski and kind of tell you the history on the entire package.
This is, within the last couple months, you're just purchasing an additional Dodge Charger. These specifications were for the equipment for that Dodge Charger, which is the lighting, the sirens, the prisoner seating, all of that, all the equipment that goes with it. So 3 bids were received, and then, as the mayor stated, the last minute one. I'm requesting, as well as the purchasing department, I can see the vendor justification form. The low bid is a bit problematic in that they take much longer to get the parts in and to do the installation for us. It could be as long as 6 to 8 weeks. Our experience with them is actually much larger than that. The second lowest bidder has a proven history with us. Their turnaround time is about 2 to 3 weeks. So that's what we're requesting this evening.
In addition to that, the actual low bidder had a bit of a discrepancy on their bid. They have an item, one of the bigger line items in the package of $1,500. It just says miscellaneous, so we don't even know if it was actually bid apples to apples or not. And I don't think we ever even received clarification on that.
No, we didn't.
So that was also problematic.
Ready for number 7, it's fire rescue sauce from Apollo Fire Equipment. The lowest responsible bid. We didn't get any bid back on that.
I don't know if it just didn't get printed out, I don't know if it was in,
I got a copy here. Yeah, we did forward it.
I'm thinking that it just didn't get
You want it
printed
printed
out.
out?
I
But
think
we
it just
have
didn't
that.
get,
But we just,
We don't have to, you don't have to stuff behind it?
no, I think it just didn't get printed off of the AIS.
Yes.
Or I think, yeah.
I can make copies, or you guys want me to email to you guys, or?
or you can just tell us about it.
I can tell you about it.
Okay.
Well, Chief can tell you about it,
Let's do that. Okay.
This item was discussed in last year's budget hearings. This is something that we specifically earmarked funding for. It is for 3 new chainsaws and 3 new rescue saws that are designed specifically for fire service usage. Our current inventory of saws is 15 to 20 years old, and it's suffering, so I would have done this sooner, but with some of the other dynamic issues going on in the department, I didn't want to spend the money not knowing if I was going to make my budget for the year. These are looking good, and with the manpower reduction and the current state of our equipment, I'm asking if we need to go ahead and buy these saws. This was bid through the Mitten system. We only received 2 bids. One was for the equipment as specified, and the other was what I would deem a non-acceptable alternative.
I noticed that it says funded through fire department. Is there a specific fund that's being funded through?
Equipment. We have a line item.
Okay. I just want to make sure we put that in there next time.
Councilman Murphy, did you receive the cover sheet that has the line item on it?
Yes.
That's-
Okay.
That's the line item that's,
I'm talking about the motion.
oh, the wording on the motion?
It says fire. Oh, it should say funded through fire department.
Number 8 is just, payroll. Number 9 is a carnival license for, Scan Fest or Leather Fest?
Madam Chair, same thing as the last one. This is a 2-weekend application. I know when we talked about the fees, we talked about looking at the carnival or the special use permits, and I know that that was some concern by the city council. This essentially, what they're doing is they're bundling in 2 weekends under 1 permit fee. So, I mean, it's ultimately up to you guys what you want to do, but, I mean, they're either going to run this thing for 10 consecutive days, or they're going to run it for a weekend, shut it down, and then run it again for another weekend, which really it should require 2 different permit applications. I read the dialogue from the clerk. Ultimately, at some point, we have to decide how we want to treat these things moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, do we need to change the wording to say like 1 week?
Yeah, we
Guaranteed you to
or
1
we
week
could just
or 1
approve it for
week.
1 weekend, and if they want the second, they have to put it in
Maybe
a
Monday
permit
through
request.
Sunday
For
or
1
something.
week.
Or we just change the permit and we spell out what an application is, what the intention is. It's a 4-day permit, or my fear is that we approved the last meeting, and now we got this one.
Yeah.
There's probably another one waiting on deck, and if we don't change the fee schedule, it probably never ends. It continues, and before we know it, there'll be 3-week carnivals in the city of Taylor.
Well, that fee schedule will be coming up again pretty soon.
Should be. Jason, do you know when that's?
For the
The fee
budget.
schedule usually is, it's approved in tandem with the budget, but we usually approve it, the budget gets approved first, and the fee schedule comes shortly after. Because the fee schedule should be approved before June 30th, so.
Okay.
But the problem is, by June 30th, you'll have most of your carnival permits already through the city, through city council anyhow, so.
But we'll be ready for next year.
Well, we did just raise it from 400 to 1,000 this year, so we did just raise $600 per car.
Yeah, but I also see that people are jumping on
They're
that.
expanding.
Now they found a loophole and they're running with it, so.
Yeah, they figured out paying $1,000.
Right, yeah.
And remember, we have to provide police services, we have to, auxiliary.
Right.
Most of these carnivals don't have their own security details.
Did we have one last year that we turned down for
Yeah.
10 days, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
I don't remember if that was Jamal
It was
or
a
if it
different
was
one.
Handy Andy.
I think it was Handy Andy, because we had the first one, and they did something similar, and then the next application, we only allowed them, no, we asked them to apply for 2 separate permits. They withdrew and reconsidered and only applied for 1 weekend. So we did never officially turn them down, we never got to that point.
Didn't they want to leave their stuff there though?
Yeah.
That they wanted to use it like a storage site for the
Yeah.
next time or something?
So you have 2 problems. Of course, if you leave them sitting idle, then you have concerns of people messing with them, playing with them, getting hurt on them.
Right.
They're kind of an eyesore when they're collapsed and sitting in a parking lot. Kind of an eyesore if they're up and running and sitting in a parking lot.
Can you force them to have security when they do the carnival license?
chief, do you know anything about, if you can force them?
We can make approval contingent on them having security. We've
But
done
right
that
now, there
before.
isn't, is it?
This one, I don't recall this one. We've had a couple recently. I believe
that,
not.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm done. That's all.
I believe, I spoke to somebody directly who runs this, and, without having anything written, I believe one part of our conversation was she wanted to know as soon as possible if this was approved, so they could put in more money for security. That was verbal a couple of weeks ago, so,
Like with the summer festival that we run, we require them to bring security. So we have PD, we have auxiliary, and then we have their private security team as well.